is going on, everyone? Thank you for tuning in to another episode here at Figure Out Films. I'm your host, as always, Chris, and today we are going to do a part 2 of my top 10 favorite sci-fi movies. And this time, we get to do movies past 1980. And again, I want to thank you all for the support and continuing on. Let's keep this train going. And don't forget to also check out the Nightmare on Elm Street series reviews that I'm doing as well. I'd love to see support on those videos. So I'm not going to lie, a lot of these movies here are actually some of my all-time favorite movies in general, but let alone just for, you know, sci-fi movies. If you missed actually the first video where we did my favorite sci-fi movies before the 1980s, check that out up here because it's really cool. But today we're going to talk about my favorite past the 80s, and honestly, this is some of the best sci-fi movies ever in my opinion. And I'm excited to talk about it because I grew up watching a lot of these movies, and a lot of these movies I also discovered later on and realized, where was I when these were coming out, or where was I when I was younger and not checking these out? Why did I have to wait so much longer in my life to watch them? Honestly, again, unconventional picks maybe for me because, you know, these are my favorite movies. And growing up, I was just renting the things with the coolest covers on VHS and DVD at Family Video. So I might have missed on a lot of gems, or I haven't watched them enough to make an impact on me. So some of those iconic 80s or 90s sci-fi movies might not be on this list. And a lot of the newer sci-fi movies probably won't be as much on there. However, again, this is my favorite sci-fi movies. You know, sci-fi movies for me, I just always found it cool. It stems really from one thing: fear of aliens as a kid, because I watched Signs as a kid and I got traumatized from that. And two, Star Wars. So spoiler alert with that one there, but I just love seeing really interesting aliens, but I've also been terrified of them at the same time. And I love seeing, as I've gotten older, dystopian future sci-fi, because I mean, just seeing different people's take on the world they're living in and the times they're living in and seeing how that could look in the future is super cool. Let me know down in the comments below, what are some of your favorites as well. I'd love to see everyone's at least 5. Go ahead and drop those down below. And let's go ahead and go with the top 10. I don't have this movie on disc, so it's gonna go first. However, these are not my 10 from 10 to 1. These are just 10 favorite sci-fi movies for me. So don't go like, oh, you put this one so high. I just love it just as equally as all these other ones. But to go with the first one is The Matrix from the Wachowski sisters. It could be honestly any of the 4. I love all 4 of them, and particularly the first one, obviously. But obviously, number 3, Revolutions, is right up there with number 1 for me as my favorite. I just love the Matrix franchise so much. I'm glad we got a 4th one, a different, fresh, unique take for a sequel movie that came out years and decades past when the first ones were coming out. This franchise is super cool when it blends things like martial arts, again, kind of like a dystopian future mixed in with horror in some ways. The human race has been basically lulled to sleep by this alien mechanical species that's putting them in what's called the Matrix. So they're living their everyday life, but in actuality, it's fiction. It's not real. It's a computer system. And I just, when I'm rewatching this movie like two or 3 years ago, it just blew my mind how awesome these movies were. And I love how with Reloaded and Revolutions, they were made in the same year and released basically in the same year. I love that flow with that cliffhanger in the second one and going into the third movie when we're in Zion, when we finally get to see the battle in Zion with Revolutions. It's so awesome. However, for the people who don't like the sequel movies, I totally get you. That original Matrix is so damn iconic. It's so damn cool. The red pill, blue pill thing. The movie can get very complex very fast, especially in Reloaded. However, doesn't bother me none, and it's still one of my favorite sci-fi movies. Coming in next is a movie that recently came out, and honestly, when I rewatched the first movie, I was like, why was I so hard on this? And I feel like the world owes this director and his works an apology. That is James Cameron's Avatar, and Avatar 2, The Way of the Water. My God, Avatar and Avatar 2, I know the memes are like, we're getting Avatar 3 and 4 in all these years and yada, yada, yada. You know, I'm willing to wait, you know? And these 3-hour movies can hold me over till then because they're so damn rewatchable. They're so damn good. I understand the criticism people had, but at the same time, I don't understand it. I think these movies look so damn good in the time they were released. 2009 is when the first Avatar released, and it still holds up so well in 2024. Avatar 2 is like I'm questioning how humans were able to put out a movie that looks like this. And I love that James Cameron loves this series so well, because you can see a lot of love is put and effort is put into these movies. This second movie especially, that third act at the end with Neytiri fighting the Colonel. I mean, it's just so lifelike how he makes these characters pop up on screen. The movies have so much heart. They have so much soul into them. I'm so sucked into this world of Pandora. I love these characters so much. It's so epic in scale. I love the message behind these two movies as well. I love the different transition of terrains from the forest in the first movie to the water in the second film as well. I'm just excited for more of this world and this franchise to continue on. And I think the Avatar haters, I think kind of got shut up with the release of the second movie. I remember seeing this in IMAX when it came out, and it was like a religious experience, you know? And Avatar is just like one of my all-time favorite sci-fi movies. My partner loves this movie, these movies as well, and she really opened my eyes to them. And the fact that I, hadn't rewatched them so often from when it first came out. I remember seeing it in theaters and not rewatching it for so long after. I was like, I was depriving myself of awesomeness. And it's got to be the Avatar movies. When we talk about sci-fi movies, it's some of like the best ever put out. Next is a movie that I think is a sleeper hit that we really, really need a sequel for. It's from one of my favorite directors as well. That is Alita: Battle Angel. This is directed by Robert Rodriguez of El Mariachi and Desperado fame. Alita: Battle Angel is kind of like Ready Player One in some aspects, minus instead of going into a video game world, the world is kind of like a mix of Final Fantasy VII's Midgar with the dystopian future where people live under this plate, where the plate on the top is where all the fancy rich people are, and the very bottom plate is like the underworld basically, and you get like cyborgs, you get people, you get robots, and people are morphing themselves to compete in these kind of like rollerball type of gladiator games to gain fame, to move up to the surface. Man, this movie's just so damn cool. It has Mahershala Ali. It also has Christopher Waltz, Jennifer Connelly as well in this movie, where it's kind of like just people trying to get out of poverty through these games. But I also love how it kind of has like a Ghost in the Shell kind of vibe to it, where our character of Alita was a battle gladiator. The visuals in this movie are stunning. The fact that we haven't gotten a sequel to this movie in a long time absolutely blows my mind. James Cameron also helped write this movie. The ending sucks because it leaves off a cliffhanger, and we just never got our sequel, which really sucks. So Alita: Battle Angel has to be my top 10. Coming in next, again, it was another late bloomer movie for me. It's John Carpenter's They Live. Now, this is a kind of like an action sci-fi movie, dystopian as well. Rodney Piper has these sunglasses, and he works with Keith David to realize that in a futuristic LA, he finds out that aliens have taken over the media and the rich, and with these special sunglasses, Rodney Piper can see which people are humans and which people are aliens, and the subliminal messages that are being sent to people to basically make them do things and to control them and manipulate their brains. And honestly, it's in 2024, it still hit so true. It's a great action movie, and the sci-fi stuff is kind of creepy, and not in like the blah scary, but more of like the philosophical scary, like this could happen. This is how things can spread like wildfire. I absolutely love this movie. It is so damn dark in some approaches and some things it says thematically, but the action and Rodney Piper and Keith David's chemistry in this movie, keep it going, and like the laughs are there, the action is there, and the fact that they're aliens disguised as humans, and then you can only see them with the sunglasses. One, he looks cool, Rodney Piper, with them, but two, it's really scary to think it's not aware to the common person, and like the messages in this movie are so great for its time. I think John Carpenter really hit this movie out of the park. It's one of his best, in my opinion, and I love this movie, and the ending as well is so damn good. So if you have not seen They Live, you need to check this movie out.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Coming in next is going to be a little confusing because I don't actually own it yet, because I'm waiting for one of the most pristine, greatest box sets ever. And for right now, I only can put this as the placement. That is Denis Villeneuve's Dune 1 and 2. I can't really choose. I might say Dune 2, but I can't choose. Okay, I have David Lynch's Dune here, which I did watch and enjoyed it, but it's nowhere near as great as the Denis Villeneuve Dune movies. And I have to put Dune as some of my all-time favorite sci-fi movies, maybe even just movies, period. I think Timothée Chalamet is so damn perfect as playing Paul Atreides in this movie. These movies are visual candy. I'm so impressed by how great these movies look. Also, the score is great. It's so cool. I love this. I used to think Dune was this really hard and complex thing, and even though I liked it, and those complex terminologies and things, you know, can bother some people, I've always enjoyed them. I thought Dune 1 was kind of like that, but once you really take a step back, it's very simple of a story. It's not very complex, honestly. I think the wording is complex, but the story itself is very simple. In fact, when Dune 2 ends, I was thinking, well, I mean, I think this is technically the end of the story, and then you get Dune Messiah, the third book, or the second book technically, but a part 3, which is years after the second movie. Spoilers, but it's a very simple story with Dune 1 and 2. It could honestly end right there. We don't really need a part 3 if it is announced, but if it didn't come out, Dune 1 and 2 could stand on its own and still be some of the greatest sci-fi, in my opinion, put to screen. I could go on and on about these movies, but I gotta put Dune in my top 10. All right, coming in at number 5. We've talked about 4 sci-fi movies already, but let's go with our 5th one. And this is actually an anime film. My favorite anime, Ghost in the Shell. Major is a character I absolutely adore. I think it's so cool. This movie takes place in 2029, so I can't even really call it a sci-fi movie. What I love about Ghost in the Shell is that, you know, it's a movie where people's limbs and their body are mechanical. They're cyborg, but their brain membranes and their memories and things like that are still very human. And how do we know what's human and what's like a computer, basically? And Major is one of those kind of complex characters where she's getting these memories and she doesn't know if she's actually human or if she is a robot. And in this movie, she's a FBI agent, basically, that's trying to find a villain who's manipulating a computer software program to take over people's brains, basically. It's kind of like Matrix and Blade Runner in a way where it mixes in some martial arts and some old school noir investigating. It blends a lot of things that I like about, you know, sci-fi, where it takes place in the future. It's very kind of like neo-noir, but also very sci-fi in terms of the world that's in. It looks like the world, even though it's in the future, still looks crummy, but it can also look super beautiful in advance. I really love the world of Ghost in the Shell, and I think it also is a template for a lot of other sci-fi movies as well. So I gotta put Ghost in the Shell next. All right, and now we're talking about an early 2000 sci-fi movie that made such an impact on me growing up, and I'm so excited that I finally got it on a 4K, and that is Pitch Black with Vin Diesel. 1999, or technically 2000, Pitch Black came out with Vin Diesel, and what I love about this movie is it's a sci-fi horror movie, and it basically has these characters from different parts of the universe in one ship. They're trying to go to New Mecca. And Keith David stars in this movie as well, and they ended up, their ship ends up getting off its orbit to this planet where it's bursting with sun, but however the constellations are going to have it end up being at dark, and then they start to discover on this planet, after they become shipwrecked, that under the ground there are alien species that come out only at night, and there's a permanent night coming, and it's a race against the clock to try to get off this planet. And the cool thing is that they're also having to find an escaped convict in Riddick. And the thing about Riddick is he has the ability to see at night. So him helping the shipwreck crew try to escape, and these aliens and this planet in general, made such an impact on me when I was a kid, and even as a teenager. I still think it's one of the better looking sci-fi movies of the 2000s, especially of its time. And it spawned a franchise. I mean, you got Dark Fury, the animated sequel, and then you got Chronicles of Riddick, and then you got Riddick, which came out in the 2010s as well. And it was kind of like another sleeper hit, in my opinion, that put Vin Diesel on the map. Same thing with his Fast and Furious movies. You gotta put Pitch Black. And if you have not checked this movie out, I highly recommend you do. Next is a movie that it took me a long time to finally get to see. I always thought it was kind of dumb from its cover, and I thought it was a ripoff. And man, was I just dumb when I finally watched it. I will always buy this movie for more than $1. That is Paul Verhoeven's RoboCop. And you could just throw RoboCop 2 and 3 in there because I love the RoboCop trilogy. Still have not seen the remake. However, RoboCop 1, my God, is this movie bloody? Is this movie hard as hell? This is a hard R sci-fi movie, and I absolutely love it. I love that, Alex Murphy is this do right, by the numbers cop, and he has to deal with this unfortunate circumstance of getting his whole limbs blown to bits, and then he gets thrown in this clunky RoboCop mechanical body. However, I still love him. Move over, creep, because this movie is badass. I love how 80s this movie is. I love how it looks like it'd be a Terminator movie, but it really isn't. It stands on its own. It's kind of popcorn cheese at sometimes, but I still absolutely love it. I think these movies are so great. I think the second movie as well is pretty damn good. We're actually getting a 4K from Scream Factory. RoboCop for me has so many iconic lines. The action's actually really good. It's like I said, it's a very violent movie. I like the commentary, the social commentary undertones of this film as well. This is just cool 80s sci-fi, man. Like it doesn't get better than RoboCop. Again, coming in next is the best Steven Spielberg movie in Ready Player One. I love this movie so much. Unapologetically, I love this movie. Respectfully, this movie is like everything I wanted it to be. It has video game, it has 80s movie references, it has horror movie references, and it looks so cool. Ready Player One for me just stems a lot of things from other movies that I love, putting it all together in this kind of like cameo fanfare love letter. I love this so much. I think it's so cool. It has things like blending in things from Spy Kids 3D all the way to basically online MMO, which is some stuff I grew up playing, and just seeing all this pop culture reference all in one thing is just pure eye candy. I love watching this movie. It's kind of a comfort movie. If you have not seen Ready Player One, definitely check it out. And then finally, for me, consider one of the best movies of the 80s in general, and also one of the best sci-fi movies for me. That is James Cameron. A little bit of tellingness with my sci-fi taste. James Cameron's Terminator. I would have also thrown in Aliens too, but I feel like I'm constantly talking about the Alien franchise on this channel. But it's got to be Terminator, man. Like Terminator for me, I watch this any day of the week, anytime. And honestly, I will always, even at my age right now, I'll always look behind my shoulders to see if my parents are coming in to see Linda Hamilton and John Belushi having sex, because I feel like everybody had to go through that. But Terminator, Arnold Schwarzenegger, I mean, an action star with his name on the top of the movie. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. Normalize bringing this back, where just the last name of the lead actor, actress, with then the movie after. I love that shit. I need it back here. They don't make them like this anymore. Terminator 1 through 3 for me is goated. Okay, even Rise of the Machine. I like that. The others, not so much. I don't really care for those. But this original one from Terminator, the score, I mean, it just blends like the seriousness of the future. I mean, I love those future aspect scenes that we see in the very beginning. I love Linda Hamilton's portrayal as Sarah Connor in this movie. This movie has so many iconic lines. John Belushi as Kyle Reese was so cool to me as a kid. Still is, honestly. The assault on the police station is amazing. It's iconic. Arnold Schwarzenegger cutting his eyeball out will always stress me out, including cutting his veins and moving his mechanical parts. It's just so damn cool. Even that very, very scary and change of tone ending, where he's in his endoskeleton, amazing. I don't know. I could talk about Terminator for on and on, but it's got to be one of my all-time favorite movies, as well as one of the best sci-fi movies and one of my favorites as well. And that'll do it. That is my top 10 favorite sci-fi movies from the 1980s and on. Maybe I should do a blend of my all-time favorite in general with the blend from the last video, this one. That might be a cool video. Let me know what your thoughts are down in the comments below. What are some sci-fi movies that I did miss? What are your favorites as well? Let me know down in the comments. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you're new here to the channel. We love to see the support. Like I said, we're at 550. Let's get another 50 in. Let's see. Let's just keep this going. I love seeing the I love seeing new faces in the comments and new ideas. So thank you all for the support as always. My name is Chris here at Figure Out Films. And remember, if you are not watching sci-fi movies, do you really care about cinema? Other than that, I'll see you next time.